Hello, I am Artinvader and welcome to my tutorial. Maybe you already know me. I am a digital artist from Berlin, Germany. I regularly post my art and short tutorials on my social media channels. Feel free to check them out. You can find the link in the caption. I want to turn my passion into a profession. Therefore it would be nice if you support me on Patreon. There you will find the project files to my YouTube tutorials. For a small financial surcharge, you also get access to my 3D models, which I use in my art. Thank you for your help. Today I will show you how to create this molten chrome animation. In the first part of the video, I explain how to create the animation with Blender. In the bonus part of the video, I will explain how I edit my animations with Adobe After Effects. Let's get started, arties. First we delete the cube and the light with the X key. Then we choose a suitable format under Output Properties. Then we create a text and place it in the render region. After that we switch to edit mode to be able to write something. I choose the term loaning. Under the A icon, paragraph, we can center the text. Under transform we can adjust the size of the font. After that we go to object mode and under add, curve and select Bezier. Go back to edit mode and press X and delete the verticals. Then press the draw icon. In the upper bar you select surface to be able to draw on the writing. In the window next to it select poly. Now you can draw the text. Then select all splines, press the right mouse button and press smooth. Now we can make the text invisible with the following clicks. Now we work with geometry nodes. Go back to object mode and create a plane. Then go to the modifier properties and create a geometry node modifier. Then we split the view in two. Go to the side until a plus appears and drag the window to the side. After that you change to the geometry nodes. Now create the following basic setup. Drag the Bezier curve into the window and click relative. After that add trim curve, resample curve, curve to mesh. There you also set curve circle, with a radius of 0,1. After that comes dual mesh, set shader smooth and finally group output. Under resample curve and curve circle you can choose suitable values for resolution and count. After that we set the group input at the end. After that we connect all open positions of trim curve, resample curve and curve circle with the group input. As you can see on the side, the spline can be animated now. Now we create the custom font. You can select a point in the spline and use the scale and rotate tool. Press the proportional button at the top, so that everything is transformed evenly. You can also select connected only and edit the points individually. If you are happy with the result, duplicate the plane and Bezier curve and make one not visible. In the other you apply the geometry nodes to the object. Now go to the object data properties and add two new layers at shape keys and set value to 1. Select the duplicated canvas and go into sculpt mode. Now you can create the liquefy effects. When you are done, we have to connect the two animations. For this change to the object mode, then make the text from the beginning visible and select the plane of the text. At Add Modifier select a second geometry node. Drag and drop the font you liquefied into the window. Search for set position and place it between input and output. Then search for Mix RGB, Position and transfer attributes and connect it like this. Duplicate the position and connect it to mix RGB. At transfer attribute we have to select vector and index at the end. Now make the duplicated plane and spline invisible. Now we can animate the animation with the slider from the mix. Now we come to the animation. First we animate the spline. We shorten the animation to 5 seconds, because we have 30 frames per second, this equals 150 frames. We move the slider to frame 0. Under the geometry nodes we set the value n to 0 and set a keyframe. Then we move the slider to frame 110 and enter 1 at end and set a keyframe. So that we can see something, we have to set the FAC value and mix RGB to 0. Now we animate the liquefy effect of the text. For this we go to frame 40 and go to mix RGB to the value FAC and press with the right mouse button to set a keyframe. Then we go to frame 110 and enter 1 at FAC and set another keyframe. Now we set a deformer at the canvas, so that the font is not so smooth. For this we go to the modifier properties and under add modifier we set displace. Under strength we select 0.05. Then we go to the texture properties and create a new texture. At type we choose magic and at depth 7. Now we use the turbulence value to animate the deformation. Go to the beginning of the animation and set turbulence to 4 and set a keyframe. Move the slider to frame 110 and enter 5 for turbulence and set another keyframe. So that the animation doesn't look so flat we work with rotation. Selects the plane in the Bezier curve and move to frame 60 and set a keyframe. Then go to the beginning of the animation and rotate the composition by 90 degrees and set another keyframe. Now we create the materials. For this we have to set material in the geometry nodes. Now we can start with the materials. Go to the viewport shading and change the second view to the shader editor and create a new material. There set metallic to 1 and roughness to 0,1. Then switch to the world mode. Search for environment texture and insert a picture of your choice. I choose a graphic from Pinterest. If you want to support me on Patreon, you can also find the link caption. To give the graphic a stronger dynamic and texture. For this we search for mapping and geometry and connect them like this. After that I scale the environment texture to 0.1 in all axes. Under rotation I search for a cool color backdrop. I choose for X and Z rotation 95 degrees. The Y value we animate now. Go to the beginning of the animation and set a keyframe with the right mouse button. Then go to frame 110 and enter 360 degrees for rotation Y and set another keyframe. Set the environment texture to mirror ball. I think the font is to noise, that's why I decided to set roughness to 0 in the material. To get some more reflections we create a area light. I color the light in a warmer tone from the animation and set power to 100W and reduce the size. Now we come to the final camera settings. Check ambient occlusion and increase the distance to 0.3. Check screen space reflection and increase trace precision to 1 and max roughness to 0.1. Also set a check mark at motion blur. Under film we make the background transparent. Finally set thickness to the smallest value. We can render the animation with Command plus F12, Now we come to the bonus part of the video where I show you how I edit. Unfortunately my computer crashed during the recording, that's why my lettering looks different than in the previous video, but the settings are the same, so nothing changes in the editing of the animation. Double-click the finished PNG sequence and paste it into Adobe After Effects. Then search for the effect hue/saturation. There you select the value of 40 under Master Saturation. Then duplicate the layer. Search here for the effect Grayscale 4 and set the blending mode to multiply. Press the T key and set the opacity to 30%. Then duplicate the lowest layer again and move it to the top. Set the blending mode to luminosity. Press the T key and set the opacity to 30%. Select the lowest layer and search for the effect VR Glow. Set the Luma threshold to 0,55. Now I work with the Destroy overlay. I set the blending mode to lighten and with the key T I set the opacity to 35%. Now we press Command+A in the layer window and then we click with the right mouse button and choose Pre-Compose. Now we search for the effect Brightness and Contrast and set the contrast to 30. We also liquefy the effect here again. Search for the effect Turbulent Displace. Move the slider of the animation to the beginning. Enter the value of 500 for strength and set a keyframe. Move the slider to 3 seconds and enter 0 for the value, the keyframe will be set automatically. Now we make a prefect loop out of the animation. After that we press with the right mouse button in the preview window and choose Composition Settings. There we double the animation duration. Then we duplicate our composition. There we press with the right mouse button on it, go to Time and select Time Reverse Layer. The composition now runs backwards and can be moved to the end of the animation. The animation is ready. Well done arties, thanks for the positive feedback and for the over 500 followers, you are the best, I am happy about every support. To make sure you don't miss a new tutorial from me, please subscribe to the channel. I try to upload 1 to 2 tutorials per week. See you in the next tutorial.